Hi, this is Leslie Beal with The Art of Gardening. And today we're going to do a project inside. Memorial Day is coming up, and instead of buying something from the store, I usually make my own. And I thought maybe you could get some ideas from what I do. First of all, you want to select some flowers that you like. I usually like to select about 3 different kinds. This year I have not selected anything small. I've noticed that in years past birds will pick it out, or one year I had like something that had like a little bit of balls. It was some kind of bloom, and it just either blows away or falls apart. You want to start with a basket, and each year I usually bring my basket that I did the last year back home, but it has kind of fallen apart because you can use them for a couple years, but if you leave it out there all year it gets weathered. And I have going to reuse some more foam that I've had, so get some floral foam so that you can use to stick the artificial flowers in there. Now I've already cut the tags off. I did not spend that much money on these. This might have been a couple of dollars, and this was only $1, and this was $1. And what you want to do is, if you like to go ahead and use these nippers, and I'm going to probably, you can clip them individually and get them all laid out. If you do that, I would not clip high, I'd clip low, because you don't know whether you would want one of them to be lower or higher. So clip this one all the way down. If you want to, you can stick the whole thing in there, but usually that doesn't work. They're all at the same height, and you might get by with that this time because it's a taller basket. You'd have to measure, and these are bendable, and you could do that, but I like to individualize them. Now, if you've never done this before, there's usually some indentations along the stems that can help you when you're nipping, but it's all kind of the same. So I'm going to nip one down here at the bottom, and that came right off. You can go all the way through here and do that. And like I said, make sure you leave enough to make decisions. If you're like me and your hands hurt, I'm only going to do a few. That way I don't have to do unnecessary cuts, because later some of these will be shorter. So I'm going to start off with 3 that are longer. What I was going to say earlier was that this was for a baby girl that I lost. I believe it's a girl. I don't know. It could have been a boy. But in your choice of colors, I decided to go with these, a good strong color for out in the cemetery, but the purple is also towards kind of blue if it was a boy. And then I always like to have a white or cream. It seems to kind of offset it all. I didn't realize that this kind of also looks patriotic, but that goes along with the other part of our Memorial Day for all of our fallen heroes, people who served us. But okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with these. I'm going to cut a few long ones and save the rest for later, because like I said, you might want shorter cuts. You don't have to sit here and do all these cuts. So we'll get 3 of those and 2 of these. And I think about Jamie when I do this. Jamie Christian. Alright, now in this bag over here, as I said, each year sometimes I use the same basket, and when I bring it back home I pick off all the good and throw away the bad, including all the different foliages that I've had from different flowers, and it makes it more interesting. It doesn't have to match what you have there, but this is going to be my sphagnum moss. Sphagnum moss is that stuff you can get in a bag that you kind of hide your mechanics with if you've never done this before, and you can fill in. Well, this year I don't have any. So I'm going to use my bag of leftover leaf pieces, and there's a few flowers that were almost good. And sometimes, to make it look right, a few faded flowers that are still in good condition can really help out, because it makes it look more real. Now, I don't know if I'll use these, but if you had, in years past, see, I had more of these, and I can hot glue those in, much like I'm going to do with these leaves too. When I get my arrangement made, then I'll come in. I would not advise to take something and do this first and, you know, do the sides. It won't look right. It'll look contrite. It'll look too perfect, and that's not the way baskets are. So once you get done, you can do this. But always save anything good from prior years, and you'll have a nice little stash. I've been doing this now for probably, well, 03 and 04. Probably now it's year 17, so 14 years. Okay, so we start with our, what I'd like to say, the main color. And that's usually the brightest one. Okay, next I'm going to put these in. If you want to leave them in, you can. But this is a pretty wide radius. I don't have a lot of these, so I am going to clip this off. Because you can bend these out. Some of your less expensive silks do not have bendable flowers. They don't have the wires, and those are more expensive. And you can bend these, but that's going to be a pretty far thing. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly cut these off long. Now, I'm working with these as well. Kind of want to see how many I have. I have 6. Now, you don't have to use all of them. If you had come up with some extra, save them for next year. And if your basket's still good, you can supplement them and you'll have the exact same flower. But this is kind of a bigger basket I'm using. I'm just going to pop these in for a minute. And that's not where they're going to go. It just kind of helps me design as I go and make sure I do want to kind of get this well-rounded. For the cemetery, it's a little bit different. You know, most of your Memorial Day flowers you go and find, they are kind of plasticky, kind of simple. Some might be silks. But you got to remember, these are going to have to weather the, you know, all the bad weather outside in the storm, so they're not going to be like a silk you'd have in your home. So we have one over here, maybe one over here. And it doesn't have to be perfectly around. You can have a few more over here, maybe one down here. You can still make it look interesting. And if you exactly know where it's going to be out in the cemetery, you know, it's somewhere where you put something every year, then maybe one side is up against the headstone, but this one sets outside by my parents' headstone because it's since we lost the baby, we had that right by my parents' headstone. So this hook stick is right there. So it does. I do want it to kind of be seen all the way around. But that is something that you can think about. If you're going to set this up against something and anchor it down, then maybe the back's not going to have something back here, and you don't want to waste all those. Put your smaller ones up here. These are shorter, so I may have to hot glue some of these in as though they are longer. That's another trick you can do. But I may have some of these like at the base, just peeking out over the edge. And whichever one's the longest of those, I might have to work in there. So I'll get the bigger ones and do the smaller ones more at the base. That looks more natural. So I'm going to keep these bigger ones on hand to maybe, I'm going to have to, like I said, you can hot glue it to a stem of another flower and make it work. Okay, meanwhile, I need some more of my main flowers, so let's cut some more of those off. Which one looks the most spent? As if it was a real flower. I think it's this one. So I'm going to see how far down I go. Yeah, I'm going to have to quickly take some more off of that one. If you find one of those indentations, it nips better. So I think I'm going to put him... And since these have handles down here, now most of the time you'll be working with the handle through here. You know, I might want to not have too much there because I'm going to be wiring there, and I don't want to mess it up when I go out there to have to wire. put him kind of down low. Move this over a little bit. Floral foam, you can move it over, but what you kind of start doing sometimes down there is make gaps. So be careful of that. You don't want to just keep pulling that over, because then your flower won't stay. You'll make a wide gap down there, hole. So, but I was just kind of trying to bend it over there. Okay. One over here. I'm going to hot glue some of this darker foliage. And that's another good thing. Sometimes if it does look weathered from your other baskets, it kind of still looks like, it makes it look more natural, because this kind of looks like this leaf in a way. And that might be something that's, you know, getting older. And it gives it not this whole bright look. Some more subdued colors makes it actually look more real, right? So don't forget about saving all your other foliage from other baskets. And as you do this from year to year, you'll get a collection like that going. Now see, I can start kind of pushing that down in. And you want different heights, especially with the big ones, because you kind of, some of my small things that I got this time aren't as tall. And that's going to be a problem. So I may have to really set this a little more to kind of help myself out. And that's when you can start pushing it down in further. You can also maybe bend one out, you know, past the basket. It doesn't always have to stay in the basket. It makes it look more real if it's not all in just such a mound. I mean, if that's the look you're going for, fine, but I think it makes it look a little more interesting. Okay, I'm about to hot glue and some of these extra leaves on, but what you can also use is get yourself a package of floral wire. You're going to need this anyway, and just keep a package on hand. I also use picture wire or anything else to actually secure this basket to the shepherd's hook out at the cemetery. But what I was going to show you was that some of the extra pieces that I have that hole from where it was on the stem. So you don't have to hot glue it on. You can actually get some of this floral wire and stick it right through that hole. I had it through that hole. Bring that up through there and just clip that right around. And then you can nip this off and stick that where you need to cover up your mechanics. And as you can see, this has filled out nicely. I don't really need sphagnum moss. I don't probably even need that many more foliage pieces, so I'm going to just use a few, make them on the wire, and place them in here. Okay, I have completed all that I wanted to add into the sides, and there you have it. A country club basket shaped flowers for Memorial Day. And maybe you can make the same for one of your loved ones. Happy Memorial Day.